Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for hanging with me for another video today. And if you've went out of your way to like, comment, or subscribe, that helps me and the channel out a lot. So thank you guys for doing that. All right, so I've talked quite a bit about there are a lot of patterns that you can run in the summertime. It just seems like the fishing is quite a bit like the pre-spawn, where they're just gonna get on something, they're gonna group up, they're gonna be there for a while. And it's completely different than the fall. You know, the fall, the fishing gets tough. There's not a whole lot going on. You know, whatever you're fishing in the fall is bait related. And that's the time of year where I like to just commit to one thing, pick up one bait, and just let the chips fall where they may. Throw it all day. In the summer, there are a lot different options you have. You know, you can find your entire day of fish. They can be on one thing, or they can be in one little pocket, or they can be in the back of one little creek arm, main river, obviously, but there's gonna be different things going on. And, you know, I did a video a couple days ago about I like to just pick up a flipping stick and a frog and just roll with that all day, but you really need a lot of cover to do that, and the cover needs to set up right. You know, you really need like bushes and trees and you know, lots of shade and things like that for a summertime bass to really feel comfortable. Not every lake has that, unfortunately. So there are different scenarios where, let's say you're fishing a lake that has a lot of isolated wood, but it's not really like lined up on the bank perfectly, like lay down trees and bushes. Maybe it's just spread out all around a pocket, or maybe there's a big flat where wood has just washed up on this flat, and the fish are going to use some of it. They're not going to use all of it. And there are different ways to fish that. Now, I don't typically like to just frog and flip those types of situations, because it seems like that cover isn't always just going to be in the perfect depth. You know, bushes and trees usually are in that like 4 to 2 foot range, you know, perfect for flipping and throwing topwater. When you have isolated wood that's just kind of scattered all over a bay or a flat, it's not always in the perfect depth range. You know, some of it may be in 6 feet of water, which to me is a little bit too deep to flip. And they might not, if they're on the bottom, rather, they might not come up and eat a topwater. So it's not perfect for the frogging and flipping scenario I gave you a couple days ago. So I like to finesse those fish, because this time of year, when you have a bunch of fish in an area, as long as they are, you know, competitive for the bait, there's a bunch of fish there, you can get away with finessing them and still catching big ones. You know, this is the scenario where finesse fishing really does catch big fish. You're putting it in front of fish that are just typically big. You know, most of the fish that are going to be on these type of places are big fish, and it shouldn't take you long to realize if it is big ones there or not. So what I like to do, power shotting, drop shotting, whatever you want to call it. So just tie you a regular old polymer knot on a 4/0 rebarb straight shank hook. This is the medium wire. I think once you get into the 4/0 size, they only make it in the medium wire. But you can also do this same hook. You can go down to a 1/0 if you really want to finesse, but this is kind of my power finesse. So polymer knot, and then put that line back through the eye like I just did. Put you on a 1/4 ounce weight. This isn't my super finesse setup, so this is going to be like 10 or 12 pound test. Put you just a 1 ounce, or a 1/4 ounce rather, weight on the end of that 4/0, and then just get you some type of finesse worm. This is a green pumpkin trick worm. I know you have a bag of these somewhere. And then just rig this up like you would a normal Texas style, but it's going to be a drop shot, and it's going to be weedless. Texpose that so you don't lose any fish. And then this is something that when the fishing's a little bit tough, you know, you can't throw a spinnerbait to these fish, you can't throw a topwater to these fish, try a drop shot or a power shot. In the summertime, I like my leader to be a little bit longer than my worm. In the springtime, I like my leader to be shortest. It's going to be all year, but about as close to the length of the worm. In the summer, a little bit longer. In the fall, even longer than that. But right now, in the summer, not too long of a leader. And then this is just going to get you a lot of bites. And I think when you are in areas that I'm talking about where you just have scattered wood, the bites are going to be kind of random. The fish are going to favor certain pieces of wood, but they're not going to be on every single piece. So you need something that's going to get you a lot more bites than your typical power fishing baits, and you can still fish quickly. And what also will happen on these type areas is you'll get some type of coontail or mucky grass and stuff like that that'll grow in there. So not great for a Texas rig worm. You really want something that's going to keep that bait off the bottom a little bit. And then fish are going to suspend. That's kind of what fish do this time of year. They suspend. So the Drop Shot is one of those killer summertime baits, but I'm making this into a power fishing shallow bait. So you could even rig this up on a bait caster or like a medium action spinning rod, maybe a little heavier action spinning rod, 20-pound braid to like a 10 or 12-pound leader. So if you do get the fish wrapped around wood, you're not going to immediately break them off. You'll have a chance at them at least. And then that 4/0 rebarb hook. But if you wanted to finesse, you know, go down to a robo worm or something, you can go down to a 1/0 with a light wire. But the time of year where, you know, clues aren't going to be just thrown at you all day, you got to kind of search them out. This is one of those baits where it's tough, it's slick calm, there's not a cloud in the sky. This will still get you bites, and then you can kind of put the puzzle together. So try that. This is one of those techniques where you've ran the topwater pattern. There wasn't enough cover to flip and do all those other things. You just have isolated wood. This is one of my favorite ways to catch bass in the hotter months. So try that. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.